Hello, and I want to welcome you to quotient rule for square roots. So if the square root of a and the square root of b are real numbers, then the square root of a over b can be written as the square root of a over the square root of b. This is a rule that we've been using in previous videos and as you'll use in future use. So looking at some examples, it says use the quotient rule to simplify the radicals. So we have, starting off with the square root of 125 over 16. So to break this down, we're just going to have a radical, division symbol, radical. We'll just replace our numbers on top and bottom. So the square root of 125 over 16 becomes the square root of 125 over the square root of 16. And as we've studied, the square root of 125 is the building block of 25 times 5. 25 is a perfect square, so it can come out as 5 from the radical, leaving 5 inside. 16 is the square root of 4, or the square root of 16 is 4. So our final answer is 5 square root of 5 over 4. Looking at example 2, we have the square root of 100 over 49. So we can rewrite that as the square root of 100 over the square root of 49. And as we've learned, these are both perfect squares. The perfect square for 100 is 10. Square root of 49 is 7. So that's our final answer. Looking at number 3, the negative square root of 175 over 100. Notice the 100 is on the outside of the radical, so that means everything is okay. So let's first break this into, leaving our minus sign, the square root of 175 over the square root of 100. So now we can simplify the top. 175 is the product of 25 and 7. So we know the 25 can come out of the radical as 5, leaving 7 inside the radical. And on the bottom we know the square root of 10 is 100. So we can pull, the square root of 100 is 10, so we can just leave the 10 in the denominator. And notice that we can reduce this fraction, the 5 and 10, that can be reduced to a negative 1 radical 7 over 2, which again can be reduced to just the negative radical 7 over 2. Okay. Looking at our final example, we have the square root of 30 over 81. First, I would break the square root of 30 divided by the square root of 81. You can try to break down the square root of 30, but it will not break down any farther than it already is. So square root of 30, and what's the square root of 81? That is 90. So that is your answer.